I'm Jim Roberts. I am with Bunker Labs, and I run a lot of the entrepreneur stuff in Wilmington, the network of entrepreneurs in Wilmington, and the Wilmington Angels for Local Entrepreneurs. And Ed is one of our entrepreneurs in the Wilmington market, and he has a very interesting product. I always ruin the company presentation because I go too far in my explanation, so I'll just head it over. Please welcome Ed Thear from NEATCAP.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Jim, clicker is on the thing for him. Clicker.
The start of this company was with my wife, Gail Thear, and Dr. Andy Unger. They worked together in a neonatal ward in St. Luke's Hospital in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So one of the three founders, and we've added 2 additional people. Dr. Jack Whalen is a biomedical engineer from USC, and Dr. Fred Kimmock is one of my associates I work with in another company. This is the market opportunity. Roughly 500,000 premature babies are born a year. And in addition to that, part of that composition is about 30 to 50,000 NAS babies, which are narcotic abstinence syndrome babies, basically opioid babies. And they take the same space in NICUs as the premature infants. So addressable worldwide, there's about 2 million.
Flip it, then you have it on backwards. Go next. There you go.
The historical approach is to addressing noise. This is a device that basically is an on-patient solution for noise protection. And if you look at the kind of environment these babies in, first of all, they're highly compromised. They often have respiratory problems. They're born prematurely down to about 24, 25 weeks. And they are often in incubators. The incubators actually form like constructive interference, and it's about 50% louder in an incubator. So the way we try to address this is we try to monitor and determine, what's acceptable. And the AAP, the Academy of Pediatrics, states that they would like to have 45 decibels as the top noise level. However, nobody could just about reach that, even in a quiet or even in a NICU without any patients. So we've tried to have solutions to let people know that when it's getting too loud in a NICU, and we've had stop lights and alarm systems that typically add to the confusion and add to the noise, which is, again, problematic. These babies should be sleeping somewhere between 18 to 22 hours a day. That's critical for neurological development. So one of the earlier solutions they had was these mini muffs. And it really wasn't a good solution because it actually had adhesion that tore apart their skin. And it was not a good solution. It's only supposed to be on for short term for 4 hours. Or our solution is more continuous for the time that the babies are in the NICU. So we have developed an on-patient solution that meets the needs of the patients as an on-patient solution in comparison to some of the other solutions that have been out in the industry for single family rooms. Since the 80s, they've been developing single family rooms, which are a pretty good solution in a sense, but they have their own problems. And over on the right-hand side is an illustration that if they are too quiet, the children don't develop all the cognitive skills that they need. And there's a study out in 2013 that shows that children that are in a super quiet NICU, single family room, don't get the necessary frequency range that are important for their cognitive development. So here's the problem. The noise increases the patient's stress. It disrupts the sleep and causes slower growth and development. Some of the deficiencies that they get are hearing loss, speech, and other cognitive deficits. Children that are in a NICU are 6 times more likely to be blind. So that's another deficiency that comes out in this population. And it also has longer NICU lengths of stay. Just to give you an illustration, it costs somewhere between $4,000 to $7,000 per day for a NICU stay. And the average stay is about $76,000. And so that's a significant impact on our healthcare system. Dreamies is the name of our product, and it actually blocks stressful noise. And it works as a low-pass filter. Low frequency is actually very, very good, kind of like your mother's voice. It actually impacts the cognitive development. And without that, you have those deficiencies. So it actually filters alarms, all the NICU equipment, and it passes the good sounds and restricts the bad sounds. One of the things we're finding out with this product, it lowers the respiration rate, and that's a good thing too. Because if you could lower the respiration rate, you could impact the metabolic rate, which enables them to gain weight, which is one of the criterias for leaving the NICU. So they get more sounder sleep and potentially, gain weight faster and impact the length of stay, which is one of the critical components to making this a successful product. Here are the benefits from the product. We've reduced need for medication for NAS babies. We have yet to prove this. We're going to be working with neonatal hospital in Wilmington. They have a large population of NICU babies, and they're introducing a new ward that is specifically generic to NAS babies. A shorter length of stay, again, is about $6,000 to $7,000 a day, and the average patient stay is $76,000. And we think there'll be reduced neurological deficits. So there's a significant savings if you don't have to convert an existing open ward. This would be like an open ward right here, where the babies are located in beds around the perimeter of the room. So it's a significant savings if you don't have to invest $10 to $50 million on a NICU renovation. And in many hospitals in inner city, it's almost impossible. This is the way our product works. It actually works as a low-pass filter. And when we did research with actually pregnant sheep, we found that low frequency was resident and high frequency was being filtered. And that's the way we patterned the design of our product. This is what our product looks like. Some of the features are, it has a band stabilization capability, and you could put eye shades on it, as opposed to putting tape on the skin of children who have the skin that is the consistency of cheese in many cases because they're premature. So you can check the fontanelles. You can also check the ears to make sure they're not being misaligned and redness. And we seal it with a foam seal on the inside. I have several examples up here that you can take a look at, the 4 different sizes that we make. This is a recent study that we did, and we found that in this study, the Dreamies with the product on reduced the respiration rate, and that's really critical for neurological development. In neurological development, active sleep is where all that neurological development actually takes place. And if you took the NEATCAP off, the Dreamies off, the respiration went up significantly. And as another part of it, when you look at the nurses were actually characterizing the state of sleep, and they found that with our product on, they were significantly in a deeper state of sleep as compared where the Dreamies were off. So I think it's a real critical element which impacts the length of stay, weight gain, and other factors, as well as neurological development. I have a video here, but I don't think we're going to have time. So let me talk about the value proposition. The headgear costs about $100, and it's good, we think, for 7 days. So it ends up being somewhere around $15 a day for the use. And it could be used, and it's very compatible with the way they use the product in the NICU for the care. So you can take it on, take it off as many times as you need to. Over the course of time, when they're caring for these babies, they get kind of messed up and they get, worn. So 7 days is what we think is a perfect time. It's a disposable product. The benefits, again, it enables sleep, which is neurological development. We think that lowering the respiration rate is going to have a significant impact on the metabolic rate, and it enables weight gain, which will eventually have its benefit for the length of stay. It eliminates skin breakdown. That's another thing. When you tape, these devices on the babies, it actually breaks down the skin. So tearing off a piece of tape on a very fragile body causes a lot of problems. So with this, we think that this is a great platform for the use, and I think it's an improvement over what we have today. The other thing too, it could be used as a stabilization platform. You could put eye shades on it. You could put CPAP on it, for the oxygen, for the respiration. And we think the next thing we're going to be testing on is a non-pharmacological NAS baby solution. Basically, they want to reduce the amount of medicines that they're giving these children, and we think that this could really help physicians who've looked at it and they've said, we see how this works. This is a good solution for that. So we'll be testing on that. The kind of applications we can have, routine patient care with all babies in the NICU, transport, when you're transporting babies coming in that are very, very sick, when a helicopter, all the pilots have ear gear on, the nurse has ear gear on, the baby has nothing in an incubator. MRI, this could be another significant cost savings where babies are moving around constantly, so it takes a long time to get an MRI. And finally, NAS babies, as we talked about earlier. These are the applications that we expect. Where we are today, we're going to be upgrading our manufacturing process to go to commercialization. We want to be marketing the product to early innovators and early adopters, and we're leveraging the existing pilot study and our contact work that we've done. We're really looking for a partner in the same space that has the ability to reach into 60 or 100 hospitals and help us get into those. And then, of course, we'd be looking for distribution and sales rep organizations. And finally, the programs we got in play, the NAS babies at New Hanover Hospital in Wilmington. We're also going to be doing a transport project there. And we need to find a place for the MRI, and we're going to be continuing our work at UPMC in Erie, Pennsylvania, which did the initial clinical study. So that's about where we are. Any questions?
Very good. We'll start Q&A. We've got about 10 minutes.
Who's going first?
Is it one size fits all?
No, we actually have four different sizes, and we've been compatible with the complete. We did something like 50 babies and on a first come first served basis in Erie, and it matched up beautifully. We didn't have to kind of switch like an ear cup and a headband. So the four sizes work beautifully. Question?
Speak loud. Okay. Did you say you had data for length of stay reduction?
No, we don't have length of stay reduction yet. We're going to be working on that shortly. That's one of the key areas that we think if we can show you can save $6,000 or $7,000 and a product that would probably cost you $300 to $500 per baby, and plus you're going to get better results. The kids that they did it's a study on that 2013 study had lower cognitive scores at the end of 2 years, which, you know, and that's because they didn't have the input that they need and the sleep that they needed. I mean, I used to call my wife, and the kids screaming at the top of their lungs. I'm amazed that these nurses were capable of handling that. And when you put these devices on, I actually had time to do the video. Scott, do we have time to do the video? No, we don't. The video is kind of a testimonial of the nurses who used the product in the clinical study, and they were really blown away.
Where do you stand on patent protection and intellectual property? And also, are there any other companies or products that are competing with yours?
We have 2 patents that are applied for right now, and one was issued on an older product. The original concept was active noise cancellation, but when we went to the NIH for a program, they said we'd never fund an active noise cancellation because you can't, you know, you have a highly compromised population, and you can't guarantee 100% of the time you would be introducing a problem, you know, like if it ever went crazy. So we came up with the idea for a passive design, which actually more closely replicates the in uterine design of a woman.
Does this require FDA approval? And if so, where are you at with that?
It's a Class 1 device, so we just have to be compliant with the manufacturing process and the quality control system.
You're making claims,
Yes, we'll back those up.
so that doesn't force you into an FDA approval process?
No. It's a circumoral device, and it's Class 1. We will have to back up any claims with testing. You know, the claims we make, we'll have to back up, but we don't have to go through a formal process.
Sorry. You talked about a $100 cost. Is that the cost for you to make it, or is that cost you're selling at?
That's a sell cost.
So then what's your production cost?
Our production cost is going to be under $10.
Okay. So now on the other side, you flipped through a slide really quick about renovations to create a ward.
Yes.
Of 10 to 50 million, and then you said there was something about a reference in there about a private family room, about 250,000.
That would be taking like a room like this with, let's say you had 30 babies around the perimeter, and converting a hospital into single family rooms with all the different architecture and the sound materials for sound absorbing materials, for doors, for ceiling tiles, for flooring. Everything has to be re-engineered around the design for single family rooms. They've done a really good job of that. However, you know, it puts children in isolation. And when children are in isolation, they don't get that low frequency sound that they really need.
Okay, so basically what you're suggesting is that this will allow an existing facility to operate as efficiently as a modern one with a renovation just by using this device.
That's actually
So-
the optimum setting.
Right. So
They can
have
still use-
you written some sort of I'm going to use the word algorithm, but have you started to put together a financial model that can illustrate, in lieu of spending this, we could be doing that, and here's your return?
No, we haven't, but that is a tremendous idea, because, you know, many hospitals just don't have the wherewithal to come up with $30 to $50 million.
That's the value of this presentation, is that kind of question to
Smaller
increase your
hospitals.
value
Yeah.
proposition.
Smaller hospitals just can't afford it. I mean, and we think this is actually a better solution to go into single family rooms because it's on patient. That's, you know, when a noise source comes, it's the children's ears. They have to be sleeping like 18 to 22 hours a day, and, you know, they're not going to get there with all the noise around. Where this really came up with, my wife was observing empirically children that were placed by a door in one of their NICUs took much longer to develop. So she did study after study, got her master's program, wrote around this, and then we worked with Dr. Unger, who is, again, part of our team, to really pull this thing together.
Excuse me.
Yeah. How long do you think you'll be able to sustain $100 price for a product that looks like it could come $5 or below?
How long do what we have to do is we have to convert, right now we're using 3D printing, okay? So that costs us around $20 to $25 an ear cup. So we're not profitable at that level, but we have been working on the quality control system to be compliant, and we just need to do an injection molding system for manufacturing, and that's really what, you know, we need about $250,000 for that.
Any more questions?
Okay. Well, we
All
have,
right.
thank you for
Thank you
presenting.
very much.